So basically, what I think is, when it comes to the difference between black male manhood and white male manhood, I think there's a total difference. And it's because of that same historical context we was talking about with the tea. It's because I never cry about white privilege, because white privilege is the evidence of hard work. At least 400 to maybe 1,000, maybe 4,000 or 5,000 years of hard work by their white ancestors to put their children in a position to put their foot on anyone's neck whenever they want. Yeah, that's their position. So the role of a white man to get into that is, for instance, to go and study business studies. To study business studies, you learn how to operate within somebody else's organization, but you never learn how to actually set one up. So you know how to sell oil in the current oil market, but you never know how to dig it out of the floor in Nigeria and how to take it to the market or create your own market and bring resource to yourself. So we both go and get the same degree, and that degree is way more valuable to the white man than it is to the black man, because all the black man can do is get a job in a white man's business, giving him a hand. So we're only, even if we hit the same pinnacles of success with them, doing the same shit as them, in the white male structure, we're just finding out how we can be the help to them. Do you see what I'm saying?
But that's also because whether they're directly or indirectly taught it, they're taught how to be smart enough to basically be at the top without having to do the hard work. So yeah, you've got the paper which shows you studied. If I'm smart enough, I don't need to do it because I'm smart enough to get you, and you to do everything for me, but I reap the benefits, and guess whose name shines in lights? Mine.
Well, if you look at, and this is like prevalent right now as well in terms of, if you look at structures, even in the last year, you know, there's been all this equality and diversity, but you still see white leadership.
Yeah.
It's still there. Yeah. It's very, I mean, as easy as you could bring in people, which they've done, great, but there's still white leadership. And it just shows you, your point is exactly, it's mirroring, it's still there. The evidence is right here.
You're just getting a job.
Yeah.
Like they dug up the remains of a woman up in Leeds, the Ivory Bangle lady. They said, wow, there was an African woman that was here in Britain hundreds of years ago and whatever, and but she wasn't a slave because look how much jewelry she had, yeah? And everyone was like, wow, yeah, she was a high up in the Roman society. I don't give a fuck what job she had for the Romans. Fuck the Romans, yeah? They come to Africa and pillaged. That's not my people. Do you see what I'm saying? Just because she had a good job in a Roman system doesn't make it success. That's not success for African people. So we have to look at it now and say, what is success for black people? And I think that's what, when you was talking earlier about, was it the easy way out or an scapegoat? That's what people, I believe that's what happens when you're not with your own people. If you, like what you're saying is, when you look at your brother and you see where he is, or I say your brother, but you know what I'm talking about. When you look at a black man and you see where he is, you say, right, there's healing that needs to be done here. I need to be able to match him and deal with my own healing, and then we're going to grow from where we are. But you're not coming into it with expectations because you know everything's been ripped away from us. Whereas if a black woman comes to a black man and says, well, the white man, he just bought Mandy a car, why can't I have a car? He just done this, da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, the thing is, a lot of the time, white boys can go through life and get their 30 slaps on the wrist. Boys will be boys, won't they? Do you know what I mean? That's what he's like, don't worry, he'll grow out of it. He can get a good job with his uncle or whatever, and he can slide that, and you know what I'm saying? He don't have, because his qualifications of manhood are totally different. Whereas me and you,
White.
Right, that's it. He's got his structure set up, 400 or 500 years of hard work of taking my inheritance to pillage it into one big mountain so him and his brothers could all enjoy it now. Do you understand what I'm saying? Whereas me and you could be geniuses, leaders of men.
We have to prove ourselves.
We could go and tell a supermarket now, listen, I'm ready, I'm the man, I'm the champ. I agree, hold this broom. What do you mean? Well, I don't need you to do that. What I need you to do is sweep up that over there, mate.
And while you're doing that, let's have a look at that.
Yeah.
Magician.
Magician's gone.
But then remember, as black people as well, the problem is we have that crab in the barrel mentality as well. So then when someone does become successful, we then tend to have a negative angle on them, like, they're like, when they are driving the big cars and they've got the money and they look at, and I'll say I've done it as well, but I feel like we spend our money in the wrong places when we get to a certain position of, it's not success, but you see like rappers, and we've spoken about that again, the whole chains, the rings, the bling, like, cool, it's cool if you like that, but when that's what you're spending your money on rather than going back and building, like i.e., look at Nipsey. He was going back and ensuring that he had that certain thing set up for people like himself in his area. Clearly, we see where life took him, right? And it seems to be those, right. But the point is that if we've got that crab in a barrel mentality, when one does make it, they could have been ready to come back and invest in everybody else, but because everyone else is like, oh, look at them now, they're up there. It's not about, oh, I want to strive to be like that and get there. Can you help me? Or that person thinking, well, I'm here now. Let me pass the baton on. It becomes, I have to be better than them. I need to show them. Why are you point proving to your brother or to your sister?
But I think that's a slavery algorithm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think we have to, as black people, we have to change the goal and our perception of what success is. Because even when you asked the question earlier, it's only because I was listening to T and in deep thought with it. For me, I think white men, their success is in their career. It's external from them. And I think for a black man, their successes should be the quality of the fruit they bear, their family. You get what I'm saying? That's where, and I think once you've got, I think, happiness within your family, to me, you succeeded. Do you get what I'm saying? Because when you see white people that are rich, families fucked. Like, so if you look at, if I bring it to celebrities, drugs or,
Mix up.
Yeah, just all type of stuff. But big up Manhood Academy.
Big up Davis.
Big up Davis, but he does with black boys. He takes them after he does courses with them or a program with them. He takes them back to, I believe it's Gambia. And what it is, if obviously in African culture men go through a rites of passage. So at the end of them doing their program, he takes them to do their rites of passage. So there's clearly a way that things are done back home in the African culture, and it's going through. He goes through like the elements and so much stuff with them. Obviously, I'm a woman, so I can't know what they're learning or in depth. But there has to be a way.
Lucky for you, him and his wife set up
Womanhood Academy.
So,
yes. Big up Michelle.
I think because I was watching the video that I sent Anne yesterday, and they were talking about not having sex and monogamy and all these things, and one of the guys was saying that he went back to Nigeria and you weren't even allowed to look at a girl, let alone like in that way. You had to respect women, and so I think in terms of us, if we're looking at the white man in terms of society, there is clearly a different way in terms of respect, in terms of education, thought processes. It's so different. Like a lot of the stuff that you hear about, and that's why I need to go back to Africa, because I've never been. I need to go home and actually experience it, because what you see on the TV is the flies and all this stuff, and it's like that's not the reality. Because when I'm speaking to people, it's like everyone that I know that have come from the motherland are always saying, bro, the love, the fact that we're connected, and this rites of passage thing is imperative. Because as we've spoken about before, what does it actually mean to be a man? I don't even know what that's still now. What does it actually mean in this society? I don't know, because they admit being a man to success. That's what is success. Titles that it doesn't even mean nothing. When you get to these levels and you start exploring these titles, it doesn't even mean nothing. These titles come with nothing. Like no substance, nothing. It's like, oh, I've just got this name, and when you say, okay, tell me about this name, what are you representing? It's some bullshit.
Yeah.
So for me, that the rites of passage, it was like, I've read books where people have gone on journeys, like a man would have to go and hunt for a lion, and I think the Maasai do it. The Maasai go out and
that's what Predator's based on.
And you're like, what? That's their journey they have to go on. Or you get in certain Asian cultures where they have to climb certain mountains and they have to go on an expedition, test their body, and then come back and you're like, whoa, we don't do none of that.
Down the pub.
I think
as you're 18, let's go down the pub, let's poison your body. Like, what?
I think that's what in Britain or Western society, I should say, is based off the age, isn't it? 16, 18, and the things that you can buy or the things that you can do is what adulthood is about, or
And
what gives you the interpretation of
you think about
going
it,
into
everything they're giving you, they're introducing you to more poison.
yeah.
You can have sex and not understand what sex is. You can do this. You can go out and drink. You can smoke. Like, what? Where's the healthy side of it? What can you do that's healthy for you? Or how, like, I don't understand. So that's what, for me, I don't know, because I've never really seen a true model of what a healthy man is in this society. I've never had a model of it, so I can't really, I don't know. But I know that from what I hear from people coming from different, not just Africa, but other regions where they're connected to their source, they're like, wow, you have a process. The Japanese have a process. The Chinese have a process. They're like, they work with honor. They work with all these things. And you're like, huh? We don't know about none of that.
Yeah, I guess there would be something in terms of like religion. So Christian, like you got Holy Communion, your first communion, your second. I'm not necessarily religious, but I guess there would be a symbolic meaning behind all these things and teaching a man or a woman.
But again,
going
would that
into-
be different for
but
a
it's been
white
corrupted
family and a black
as
family?
well. But the religion's
I
corrupted.
was ask you that because you was talking about everyone having their rites of passages, and we said we don't really have that here. Who's we? Because do white people have a rites of passage that qualify them into a level of manhood where they can go out and be successful? Because remember, like as I said, two different species. Both of them are birds, but both of them live different, and their culture supports them to live in their way. So although we might be same species as the white man, they might have a culture that is beneficial, and they've got a tape measure which measures success in a totally different way. So have they got a rites of passage? Have they got a manhood process, creating process that works for them and is successful and creates soldiers every...
This just hit me. I think white men are raised to be savages.
Just hit you.
Yeah. I think what you was doing was a bit of a trick question still. Because in my mind I'm thinking white men, they're not men. They're savages. Because they try and point the finger at us, that we're savages. But they taught us. So I'm like, your rites of passage was to be murderous psychopaths. That your way of a good time is the pub, banter, slapping each other's asses, pissing in each other's drinks and stuff like that. That's your way. And then you hear people that look like us start to reference, it's banter. No, it's not, it's white people. So, are they raised to be men? Do they even know what it is to actually be a man? I don't think so.
And for me, I don't know. I don't have no reference of what it means to be a white man, and I don't have no reference of what it means to be a black man.
Well,
I've started to learn that, but I'm saying fundamentally growing up, education, your natural education, I didn't get that. I was
if you're talking about a true definition, right, then no. But if you're talking about their version of what a man is, status, you know,
status, you're having
status and titles and success and what you need to be classified as a man.
It's weird because if you was to look at it like that, I've acquired that, but I still don't feel like that.
Because it's not true.
Because it's bullshit. Like a title, yes, okay, but what about me? Am I truly fulfilled? No, because it's all bullshit.
I think a barometer of a man's success, any man's success, is his partner. I say partner because some men want to be with other men, and even if they've got a dependent on them or a teammate or a partner, that partner can look at them and say, are you fulfilling your role? I guess manhood is a social concept. So the question, really, one of the best questions should be put to the sisters to say, what do you think? What do you think black manhood is? And does it differ from what white manhood is? Now, I want you to imagine
What manhood?
I want you to imagine being in a relationship with one gentleman and then being in a relationship with another, and they both come from the two different cultures that we're speaking of, one white, one black. Would their responsibilities to you change or differ based on you being connected to these two different cultures?
100%. For me, personally, from how you just explained that, I being real, I feel like I couldn't necessarily be in a relationship with a white man because I don't have that connection. And when I say, no matter how much I might be able to get on with them, and even if we liked each other or whatever else, there's, whether it be, you could be black and still have different traditions, but the underlying grounding is that what I experience, you experience, what you experience, I experience. And I'm not speaking on a surface level of police brutality or going to work and being stressed out or things like that, but as we're both black people, we are living that similar life. Like, you understand me, I understand you. Forget us on a personal level, but as a nation, we get each other, we click. We're like puzzle pieces in that sense. So for me, there would be certain things I would naturally expect of a black man to fulfill, where I wouldn't expect it of a white man because I don't believe he can fulfill it. And that being said, that there's certain things that you might try to do your best for me as your woman, but there's certain things you're just not going to get. Or even if you understand it, you can't fulfill that role because of you and your place, your position in life, because systemically we're very different. And I feel like I could ask certain things of a black man, whether it be just as a partner, as a father, even like when you look at things like that, fulfilling a role as a father. If I have certain teachings I want my child to have, as a mixed couple, you can still fulfill teachings, but you won't understand certain things, and you're still going to have the other side in your head. So regardless of how much you're into it, you still have what you've learned, how you've been raised in your experience, which is far from what I've experienced and what I've come from. So I couldn't put that responsibility onto you. The responsibility that I'll be putting onto you is to understand it. You can't do that. You can, what's the word I'm looking for?
Relate.
Not even relate. You can empathize with me, but you won't actually understand what's going on. And you, a white person or anybody else, no, I'm saying
They don't have empathy though.
But whether they do, if we're looking on an individual level, even if they could empathize with me, they can't relate and they can't overstand, they can't understand, and they can't understand. And if you can't do all three together, I can't put that or expect you to fulfill that role of responsibility of those three things. So for me, as a black man, you can still learn certain things and educate yourself where it becomes part of you. So I feel like that's
Or you can awaken to yourself.
Yeah, but they, as a white person or any other race, they can't awaken to something that's not them.
I hear that. I think found something interesting that you said. You said how you can feel that a relationship with a white man will be lacking in certain areas because of the experience, and it's something that can be fulfilled in another area. Can that? I feel that can be kind of turned on its head at sometimes. I feel like when I'm in Clubhouse and these women, yo, girls, you need to divest. You need to get you a white man. Da 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 da. You know, and I'm hearing them. This woman says she's the Harriet Tubman of interracial relationships. The Harriet Tubman of interracial.
You can't even make that make sense.
Bro, it was heartbreaking. The whole room, hundreds of them in there celebrating the white man, and the ugly white man is sitting there lapping up all of the. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you something. I don't know when a man's good looking, but I know when he's ugly. Yeah, that was an ugly man. Anyway, what I was saying is, if you turn that on his head now, can you say that there are things that you don't expect from a white relationship, but you do expect from a relationship with a black man? But are you aware that he might not be able to fulfill them?
Yeah. The thing is, I think sometimes the problem is with that, it's more about your expectations. Because sometimes our expectations or what we expect, sometimes we mistake with our needs. So we would say, oh, I need a man that does this, or sometimes what we need to do is have it up for ourselves and stop expecting it from other people. So I think when we go into things like that, that's when you take away the whole, oh, he can't fulfill that role. It's not that he can't, maybe he's not actually supposed to fulfill that role. Maybe him not fulfilling that role is pushing you to do it for yourself. Or you have to meet them halfway with meeting that goal. But that's also where goals come in. What do you want, and what does that person want, or what do you both need from each other for a relationship to work? And I don't think we always assess it like that. It becomes what I want, what they want, oh, do they align? It's not that simple. But like you were saying, in the end, there might be certain things like privileges that a black woman could get from being with a white man, but at what cost? Because let's be honest, it's all great when things are great, but when shit hits the fan, does it work out the same? Do you walk off with those things? Are you still the beneficiary of all those things without reaping something else as a not even a compensation, as like a repercussion for what you've gained? Even if you gain, by the end of it, you're gonna have to give back something. May not be the physical things, you have to give back something. And when you separate with a black person, yes, you may have lost, but you can walk away with just a loss. You just lost what you had. You don't have to throw back everything that you've had and more. And I think that's where the safe, that's me personally. If others do their thing, innit? But that's just me.
Oh, sorry, I am so sorry. He kind of said it all, if I'm being honest. But then on a personal level, I try my best not to expect stuff from people, because we're all coming from different points in our lives. But yeah, no, definitely I think the experience will be different. I haven't dated outside of my race, so I wouldn't. So I wouldn't know the experience that you would have. But again, I'm sure there is certain privilege that come with being with someone that's white, or even just a different race altogether. I'm sure there's different privileges you will get from it, whether it's culturally, financial. But then you've got that across the board with black men as well. Different countries, different languages. I think it depends on what you want for yourself. And there's richness kind of everywhere. Like with us, so as much as, I don't know, some people like to put down black men, there's richness in our culture, there's richness in them. It's just what you're looking for. So I definitely do feel that experiences would be different.
But you said, I don't expect things from people.
Yeah, I said I don't try to expect. I try to just, you present, what you come with, because we all have different experiences. It's like if a man was to, he expects me as a black woman, maybe he's experienced childhood, he expects me to be this way, like soup on a Saturday and rice and peas on a Sunday, and I'm saying no. Those are expectations, so I'm saying I try not to expect. You come with your experiences and we see where we can build. You might be black, but you've come from a different culture. I honestly just expect you to present who you are, and let me deal with who you are, where you're at. That's kind of me.
When we was talking about the Egyptian gods or whatever, we was talking about Osiris, Isis,
I don't know if I was
and Haru.
He was there.
I probably were.
Me and you talking, innit? Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
So we was talking about these three, and in fact, I think this is the concept of this book, the Isis Papers. Yeah. One of the foundational reasons you chose the name for it is because the story is that the black man, Osiris, which is his Greek name, but he's the Lord of Perfect Black. He was split into like 50 pieces, and it's the black woman that went around and put him back together, and then had a child with him with that obelisk, which is the penis symbol. And then now the child comes Haru, or Hero, Haru, and Haru came and he saved the day. So it's that whole they had to get from my research, they had to get rid of that, because when African people were studying that and still like looking at that story and they revered it, it showed them symbolically the black woman regularly rebuilding the black man every time he was destroyed in war, rebuilding him, giving him a son and building his son back even stronger to be able to go back into the war. And I feel like that's what I'm hearing from you. I don't know if I'm missing the point here, but I just feel like you're saying you accept black men where they are, you know there's richness in them, but I want to see growth. I want to see change, and then we can start talking about how we fit in together. Am I putting words in your mouth, or am I getting?
Not necessarily putting words in my mouth, but I agree with everything T said because we're definitely on the same wave. So I'd heard it, and then yeah, you just have to. I live it. I see what's going on. So sometimes you have to see where people are at and see if you can gel, if you can get along. But like I said, I do know there's a definite difference between me dating someone that has a privilege in the system built for them and my men not having that privilege in the system. So ultimately, see if I'm going to work with the person that doesn't have the privilege within a system, or I'm just going to go and get the benefits and step outside. So you got to choose what you want. So I've chosen head, like with my guys, and work together. And I still have work to do because I'm not excused out of this system that I don't gain privilege in. So I can't point a finger at you and it's free back at me. They got our foot on both of our necks. So if I date outside my race, for me, then it's for them to get their foot off my neck. But I still feel like even if I date outside my race, I'm still gonna feel it. I'm gonna feel something. I don't feel like
party, and then they'll be like, oh.
Yeah, I don't.
It's off of that analogy. Yeah, I look at it this way: like as a mother, I have a son. I have a black son. So you know what? If I can't, we're gonna find crap people everywhere, right? Male and female. But if I look at it and I can't love, respect, and nurture another black man, some are fallen. Yeah, we know that. But as a mother, if my son falls, I'm here to pick him up. But I also expect that if he's with his father, I expect his father to pick him up. But I acknowledge at times his father might say, let him get up by himself. Because there's times as a mother I'll still do it because I have to know that I've taught you well enough for you to pick yourself back up. But if I can determine he's weak at the moment, he can't get up without assistance, I have to help you. And when I say the expectation of a black man as that father, and it doesn't have to be mother-father, I'm talking about metaphorically, we need to pick him up, which could be the next generation. It could be the elder generation. As a team, we have to pick them up. So how can I not love you the way that I love you when we together create that next life? Whereas anybody else, any other race can say, do you know what? I want to pick you up, but there's like 50 men running at us right now. Sorry, but I've got to cut. As a black man, you can still cut. Don't get me twisted. But the likelihood is there's going to be times when you have to say, F that, I'm going to fight all 50. We're picking them up. Let's go. And I feel like them teams there, regardless, if I break, you break. But guess what? If I get out, I'm coming back for you. I'm coming back to pick you up, to build you up, to nurse you back to health. Like you said, I don't want to put you out to war, but we're in this war. So I have to nurture you to fix you to a point where you can now say, all right, it's time for me to look at the gym and gain that strength back now. But I had to nurse you to get you to the gym for you to fight the war.
And the plight doesn't finish, even if we were today outside of our races.
You got
and
to
we have
yourself.
children, and we have children. You're still black. You're still
you're
still gonna have
fighting.
a fight. It doesn't matter. So let me just fight with
We've
my
got contending ideologies in the house.
Right, but then you have someone. You then have the fighter and then the savior, because and again, it's not even in a disrespectful term. You see how when you explain the story of a grandmother, she came out and said, "He's one of us." That's where the counterpart will be saying, "Hey, no, that's my child. It's one of us. They're all right." Oh, okay, sorry. But now if your dad can't run out, if whoever that counterpart is doesn't run out to save you, guess what? They don't give a damn. They see you now again as black. If I run out as the black mother going, hey, he's mine. What's your point?
Exactly.
Let's take both of you.
Exactly.
Right? So guess what? I have to be strong enough for the both of us then. So there might be 3 of you in it, but it's really 2 of you fighting this war. Because one of them can do what the hell they
Undercover
want.
agent.
So at the end of the day, for me, as I said, and this is not to disrespect any people that I know that are in mixed relationship, what suits everybody suits them. For me, myself, I will take a broken black man over taking an escape route per se.
That's good. It's interesting language.
And that's not to say that others have chosen an escape route because how everyone does
Who
it.
knows what we've done subconsciously?
No, but this is when I say it as I'm saying as that's how I see it as a conscious thing. So I'm not saying that's why others have done it or where they're going, but some definitely have.
That's a part of the
Because it's
psychology, isn't it?
If you can inherit past trauma, can you not inherit past thoughts around, being the
100%.
oppressor?
100%.
So-
If you're going to look at someone, that's what post-traumatic slavery
you can have past trauma inherited into your DNA
Yeah.
from your parents and beyond.
Mm.
So if you can have that, you must be able to have a counterpart, which is
It's called social learning theory.
it just must be ingrained within their psyche that actually I'm entitled in this present time.
Yeah.
I'm entitled, I'm privileged, and I will oppress
Remember
unless they unlearn it.
The inheritance comes through with the teachings as well.
Yeah, well,
Whether
because
it's
For
something
me,
or not.
that's why I find it strange, because I'm like, I've actually got both of these
Traits.
being
And you
traits.
acknowledge that. So
Yeah,
that
but
means you're aware of it.
And
Can I tell you something?
obviously I resonate more with because I've had the experience of like people not getting into clubs, people not letting me in, being a rep, all of these things. And I also recognise that I also have a privilege when it comes to communicating with certain types of people.
Yeah.
Because they will see, oh well, you're not as black as you look, or
Well, you might
as you
not
say,
be
like
black.
your name, bloody hell, your name. I had it today.
And they're
Your
kind
name's a J. Like, what?
And they're
But
kind
they
of
see me and
ruthless in
they're
their-
like, a J?
Yeah.
And they're kind of ruthless in how they speak. Like, how they'll say that to you is like a slip of the tongue. Like, oh, it's normal. It's like, it's not, you're actually taking a piss out of me right now because of your ignorance. But it's like, I'm not going to explain that unless you say, excuse me? Oh, no. But they're so free with it.
No, go on.
But what's interesting, right? You just gave like fucking epic,
They did.
beautiful speech.
Some beautiful gems in there.
Right?
Oh my
Right?
god.
That's just how I see it. But do you know what was the most interesting part about it? The most interesting part? Because obviously we know that what she said was real, right? But it's her having to say, not verbatim, but being mindful of what they think. That, to me, like, fuck them. We are in no position to have, see look, the fact that she even has empathy, the fact that we still have empathy, these lot are ruthless with it, and we don't have that edge. That's what they have over us. They're ruthless with it. I know that when you said what you said, when you said what you said, right?
No, but
when you said what you said, right?
we do think about how they feel.
Right. When you
It's
say
written,
what you
but that is
say,
in you. You
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
not-
no, but listen, no.
Do you know what I mean?
When you say what
That's
you
the
say,
slave
right,
inheritance.
it's
That's your slave inheritance.
when you say what you say, right? It's.
I don't think it's a slave inheritance.
What do you think it is?
Because that's how they invaded our country, because we had empathy. Like it was before we were even.
That's not empathy.
No, when they come, we
When
wanted
it comes,
to help.
you open arms. That's welcoming. That's
Okay,
that's
and
about,
that too.
You know what? We can
But he-
trade new people.
But
interesting
but the white man
exploration.
came not having nothing, so there was a little bit of empathy in that. In empathy, there's niceness. But I feel like that's ingrained. If we're the people of the world, then empathy is a good thing. It's a great thing.
no, it's
So
amazing.
we've already got that in us. It's inbuilt in us. It should be in. It should be in us. Yeah, it should be in everyone.
Should it be in? Should you have? Should the wife of a domestic violence have
No,
empathy
what I'm
for the man giving her lips?
what I'm saying, don't take what I'm saying out of context. What I'm saying is that empathy is not a bad thing, because it was like, why do you have empathy? That's what kind
Who
of
deserves
No,
your empathy?
But it's.
But it is,
Who
yeah,
deserves
yeah,
the
yeah.
context.
No,
though.
I get it.
What
Yeah,
I'm
no.
saying is within the context of these people are ruthless
I get
with
what
their
you're saying.
team,
Yeah,
right?
no, 100. It wasn't-
And it's not like they're ruthless because we've done something to them.
Yeah, no,
They're ruthless off their
They
own accord.
have done something to us, but now we must have that empathy. Now look,
Should I have
empathy is
empathy
beautiful.
with Hitler because he was a vegetarian?
Let me explain something.
But when
You
she
understand
was
what I'm
being
saying?
empathetic, she was being empathetic, like she said, to black
Black
people.
people, yeah.
She wasn't being.
I was gonna
that's
say,
what-
let me
that's what I was-
explain. So I get
Yeah.
what you're saying and why you said it. My empathy was and do you know what? Not that it's not empathy, but what I want you to understand is when I'm projecting or putting out my opinion, it's just that, my opinion. I know many people in mixed relationships, yeah, I'm not gonna say to you, I'm gonna stop talking to you. I'm not gonna say I'm not interested. But they can ask me, and I will say in front of their white counterpart, I want a black man. I'm for a black love. I'm for black families.
That's okay.
And that's not because it's wrong. Because the same way, if the rest of their family is all white, that's because they're interested in their
But
own.
why should you even?
Right?
What I've struggled with is why do we even need to explain that? Because
That's my point.
That's a
the reason why I
That's
say
my
it-
point.
That's why.
Why
That's
do we
my
need
point.
to? Because every other race does it. Asians do it. Chinese do
Ruthlessly.
it.
Right, but this is,
White people
hear
do
what
it.
I'm saying.
They do
Joy.
it, and they even say it. They don't go to the gala. Don't do this. Like they
But this is
are
what
outwardly
I'm
saying
saying.
this
I'm
stuff.
not saying it.
So why do you need to
I'm not
explain?
explaining
Just
to
it's
them.
black love. That's it.
Do you know why?
That's it. Boom.
Because we have been as black people.
This is
we
gonna
used to be
kill the fuck out of
Africans.
people.
Yeah, of course.
But why?
We used to be Africans and we had a culture. So when that got stripped away, yeah, even a lot of African people, I mean, they're not gonna like me saying this, but some people their culture's been stripped back from them. Some people they know Western culture better than they know how their grandma lived, yeah. So when we now turn around and say we want black love, you're not talking about culture anymore because you say, well, you watch EastEnders, so we both support Arsenal. Why don't you? Do you understand what I'm saying? So when I guess when Asians are doing it, they're saying, well, this person is Muslim, I'm Muslim, we want to do our thing in the Indian Muslim way. When the Chinese person does it, they'll say we're da-da-da-da-da. I don't know, I'm just pulling at straws here, I'm not part of these communities. But I think for us, I think we've been so heavily invaded. All of our spaces are not, just when people talk about this cookout, it's a glorious place. And that's why some people are offended that any old one can get invited to this
You've
cookout.
got to remember, we've been separated the most. Yeah, and when I say that, not to say others haven't. Now, alright, you've got your Asians, they're broken down into different communities too, but they stay within their communities, generally speaking. Yeah, as black people, we've been separated so much. Like, Asians will say, yeah, we're Asians, but Indians are Indians, Pakistanis are Pakistanis, very much like that. Cool. But they would still say we're Asian, but they understand that each one still have their own different experiences historically and culturally. As black people, we've done the whole, right, you're African, then it's you're Caribbean, then it's you're other black, then it's within your African, you're Western African, you're Northern African, you're Eastern African, you're Southern African, you're Central African. You've got so many different subcultures that it's like, some people act like they're not African. Like, even if you say to someone that's Mauritian, I'm Mauritian. Some people don't even, some do, some don't even say I'm African, it's I'm Mauritian. Just like how you might hear someone say I'm Jewish, they won't say I'm white, I'm this, I'm just Jewish. So there's so many, that's why I think sometimes it's harder for us to come together because there's so many more subcultures.
Minus your process to divide your people.
But what I'm saying is when I'm explaining it, it's not to help others. I'm just saying, see like how you said you had the girls on Clubhouse, yeah? Those are the ones that I'll say have definitely stepped out for their own benefit. But they don't realise sometimes, alright, cool, reap your benefits now because you might not be laughing at the end. Because again, you're gonna have to give back more than you bit off in the first place. But it's not for the white people for me to explain to them. I don't care. Because the same way as you said, Agatha got with Michael, they didn't explain nothing to Cuthbert. They just did what they was doing.
There's even simple things like that I've heard and observed around, even when it comes to if you had kids and having to respond to the kids' needs like hair and understanding that, helping them to understand their history, food, all these different things. So it's like there's even simple things in my mind. I'm like, you have to really be intentional about this stuff because if you start that process, then it can potentially be a lifelong process.
Explaining
And
to
are
them
you
when-
ready to take those steps to unlearn, relearn, give them the truth?
Because if you don't give them the truth, I think that you can really put them in a tumultuous internal battle where they're trying to sort out
And it's already
the race
bad.
problem.
I'm on it now.
it's already
You're trying
bad.
to sort out
Like,
the race
I don't
problem
know
in your
the
belly.
African half, so what the hell's going on? This isn't fair.
Yeah.
How do I've got half African in me? I don't know this.
And
That to me is a problem. How have I not given that balance? I know my white culture. I'm here.
And it's that thing of like, it's like, as you said, it's already like turbulence. It's already like shaky. It's already like, oh fuck, like what am I doing? Like how am I gonna like navigate through this thing? But it's like no one wants to say, or not even wants to say, that it's not a thing of you need to fucking pick. You need to fucking choose. It's either one or the other. It can't be both. Because if it's war, you can't fight for the same team. football. It's simple. There's players that are assigned to certain teams and they go to war with each other against others. That's how it works.
But some of their own.
But can I just say something? In American society, they say the one drop rule. If you got I think it's 1/16 of black, you're black.
Yeah.
We don't operate off that as black people, and is that a mark of us having no confidence? I want to come back to the manhood thing, but is that a mark of us having no confidence? Because really, are we looking at it? Am I black? Because I've got 25% white. Are you black?
Yeah.
No, but I always consider myself mixed race. And actually, when I was growing up, I identified with my mum as white. But the system only sees me as black. They told me, like literally, we're finding you a placement. Oh yeah, you're actually black, so we need to find you a black carer. I was like, but my mum's white. So whether we like it or not, doesn't matter. They see you.
They're
as
putting
black.
us in boxes.
Yeah, so guess what?
To be black, as
I
long as
didn't,
you look it.
I didn't have to choose a side. I am a side.
Yeah,
Because
whether you like it or not.
You know anything that's not pure white is
It's not
white. So that's it.
And that's the
And
thing.
that's sad, but it shows you, goes back to the
Yeah.
thinking of what it is. This is what it is. It's the truth.
People use the excuse of, oh yeah, but aren't we past base and stuff?
We're not.
No, not within this realm.
No.
I think that where we are right
I know
now is
what's-
a refinement stage where we're giving the illusion that we're past race. Like,
I don't even
if
think we're
one-
given that.
We're
That's the
definitely
thing. I just
not,
think
bro.
people are just ignorant to the fact that it's there.
I think
It's an excuse.
I don't know how they can't see it.
I don't
but-
think they're ignorant. I
Anyone
think
who
they're
tells
just
me
pretending.
that they can't see colour, they're a lie.
But the
So
thing
you
is,
must be
why
lying
would-
because
but my thing is, why would you not want to?
it would be
Why would you
interesting.
not
It would be interesting.
Because they don't want to address the elephant in the room, which is
Yeah.
something that
I mean,
because
this elephant is not the room.
ultimately,
The elephant is the
right,
room.
right, right.
It's the room.
But then ultimately,
Elephant's bigger than the room.
ultimately, you don't want to accept the part that you've played in this mess.
That I would say.
Guys, true.
Because they would say
Because
it
what they
wasn't
were saying,
me.
right.
It wasn't. That was my ancestors, and I
and-
have nothing to
right.
do with it.
You know what would be interesting? To speak to a blind person. To say, how do you receive colour?
Do you know what? It's
Because-
weird. I saw a post like this the other day.
Swear
I'm
down.
gonna send it to you because the guy's blind and he said, "I know when I see black people, and I immediately don't like them."
Wow.
So I don't know what it is. The blind man said that. I can hear
Is
it.
he a
I
white
can-
blind man?
A white blind man. He said, "I know black people
Was he
when
born
I
blind?
hear
That
them."
then goes
Was
to
he born blind?
that then goes to the
Born- I
point
think he's
of,
born blind,
is
yeah.
it passed down?
Mad.
Because
Bro.
that's crazy.
Bro, listen. If
It's
you look, I watched this thing here. Dr. Joy the Guy Leary was talking about how there's a black man being hung and there's a little white girl next to him, smiling. She's grimacing on her face, whatever. A little smile on her face. And she said, if I took a puppy right now and stamped the shit out of that puppy in front of that little white girl, she'll cry her eyes out. But somehow she's in a position right now to see a black man hanging from a tree and smile. It's another day at the office. And if that's somebody's grandma, and they've sat down at the dinner table or roast dinners, talking in some way, then oh come on man, and they're accidentally going to take some of those behaviours, and they've got to de-lice themselves if they really want to. Do you see what I'm saying? So that is it, and that's what they call it, social learning theory. If I said to you, how'd you make a cup of tea? How'd you make a cup of tea, Tish?
Bit of milk, 2 sugars, bit of milk.
Two sugars,
Okay, like
milk.
this,
So you put the sugar in first.
water.
You put the sugar in first.
Put the milk in first.
You
I don't put
Now,
no milk
craziness.
in. I don't put no milk in.
Milk in first. Where's he got that
Yeah,
from?
what?
You know you're supposed to put the tea bag in first, yeah? Then you put the hot water. But I'm asking, well, how did he learn?
Ah,
He didn't
see,
say
I
his
stopped
mum taught
doing
him.
that, though.
His mum taught him that way. My
Oh,
mum
did
taught me
she?
this way.
No.
See,
And it
because
has a
I
mark.
used to, when I didn't make
What?
tea, I used to do it that way.
The system
And
taught
then I
me.
stopped doing it. I put the milk, put the tea bag in, then the milk.
Oh,
then
okay,
the
we didn't talk about tea like that.
Now we are.
There's-
Now let me
there's
explain to you
reasons.
why. There's a
Behind
reason.
this.
Now the reason why, historically, when people made tea, they made it with a teapot. So you
Yes.
put the tea leaves in the hot water,
Yeah.
you put your milk in the cup, and then you just pour the
Pour it in,
contents
pour the
out of
milk
the
in
teapot.
after.
I
So
don't know
his-
where the milk came from. Tea don't even need no milk.
Yeah, and it's British. It's a British thing, isn't it? They like milk. They're the only white people. I've got the most people that can tolerate milk on the planet.
Because they
everybody
like
else,
fondling with cows.
everybody else has got lactose intolerance all around the world.
No, it's true.
But it does make you think like,
It's
how
true,
the hell
they
did
like
someone?
fondling with cows.
How
they,
the hell
they
did you?
abuse the cows and the
What did
animals.
you do to get there?
What's
Like,
you doing under there? Who knows? Even vaccine comes from the
true,
Latin
though,
word
man.
vacca, which means cow. That's to do with smallpox, cowpox. But anyway, we come back here. So yeah, vaccines to do with cows. But you put the milk in first, then you pour it out the teapot. So now we're looking at history. If we look at the history of making tea, we'll see why you do. We see why you do what you do. There's a reason you put the milk in.
Wait,
first, because it's historical.
Wait, and it ties into this whole mixed race thing.
I knew that much.
But that alone, you don't see how light the tea gets, depending on how much milk you put in it. And then to fuck it up even more, we're gonna give you sugar. Sugar ain't good for us. Ultimately, this is why, as you said, there is a case of white people being the most intelligent people on earth, because within that tea, you're diluting the blackness with whiteness.
Yeah. Well, that's the metaphor I just read in the book. Basically, they diluted the pure black Egyptians to then make it more kind of acceptable.
We're gonna get cut off YouTube.